positions?
I have,
Yep.
I'm fine with them.
Me too. And any add-ons to that?
No, sir.
Okay, then, George, Mr. Sahi, you're on. How are you doing?
Good morning. They always say never give the microphone to a politician or an educator. So here we go. Good morning, Commissioner Grossman, Commissioner Jones. Thank you for allowing us to be here today and let you hear from our Vice President about what's going on at Miami University Regionals. So thank you for your time. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce to you my immediate boss, Dr. Andy Dorjea, who's sitting right here with me from Miami University. Andy is the Vice President and a Dean of regional campuses, which include Middletown, Hamilton, and Voice of America. And he joined Miami University last July as a dean, and a couple of months later he was appointed to the vice president. This is the first time that Miami has hired a VP and a dean for regional campuses. And that shows their commitment to regional development, economic development, and want to make sure that Miami Regionals are an engine for economic development. So we're very excited about that. Just to tell you a little bit about Andy, and I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, but Andy is a graduate of Tennessee State University in biology and master's degree in higher education from Loyola University in Chicago. He continued and received a law degree. Commissioner Grossman, you will appreciate that, from Georgetown University. And he did not have enough degrees, so he went to Vanderbilt and received a doctorate in higher education. His experience is very broad. He has worked in industry as an attorney. He worked for the Department of Education and the Department of Civil Rights, and later on as an attorney as well. After that, he joined higher education, and his first appointment was the Florida Atlantic University, where he served as an executive director for inclusion and equity. Then he moved on to the Michigan State University, where he was serving as the director for institutional equity. In 2018, he came to Miami. He came to Northern Kentucky University as the vice provost for undergraduate academic affairs. And his last assignment before he joined Miami University was the interim provost and executive vice president for academic affairs, where he was managing 7 colleges, 100 programs, and over 15,000 students. He's an accomplished man, and I have a lot of respect for what he has done in a short period of time. There's no tomorrow for Andy. You'll listen to his presentation, and you're going to fall in love with his presentation, what he's doing for the region. And he's very much involved in the community. He serves on the board of the Gateway Community College, Board of Trustees, Duke Energy, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana's advisory board, and also on the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. He's got 4 children, and he is traveling. He loves to travel, read, and run, as you can tell. And if you want his Social Security for the record, I can tell you about that as well, but I will not do that. So with that, Dr. Dorjea.
Good morning. And I was told I could hold the microphone because I'm tall, and me and George is a little bit of a height difference. But no, I appreciate George the introduction. Whenever George introduces me, I feel so much better about myself. And I said, all right, I'm doing okay. So I've got a few minutes this morning with you, and as George mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing at Miami University and talk about how our focus has shifted, not only when you think about Miami, and I know we've got some Miami alums on the commission, but also looking at what are we doing locally? What are we doing to make sure we advance the outcomes, not only from an educational standpoint, but from a workforce development and economic upward mobility standpoint here within our region? So, of course, the clicker wouldn't work when I wanted it, okay. A couple things to think about. When you think about higher education and the work we do, there are a number of threats that people talk about it. If you listen to people talk about higher education, they talk about the cost. Higher education is it's too much. It's not affordable. It's not accessible to most individuals. Is it applicable to what individuals are learning? You know, when we talk to industry and when we engage with leaders, are we preparing graduates who are prepared to go forward and really take on those jobs and be successful? Are they learning those necessary skills and tools? And then is it aligning with the careers? And so we have to make sure that higher education is being very intentional to say what we are teaching in the classroom should align with the careers and prepare our students to move forward in what we're doing. Now, when we think about our threats to education in our own community, there's a couple other things we have to think about. Think about our college going rate. So if you look at Warren County right now, adults who are 25 and older, 43% of them have a bachelor's degree. But if you look at the current data about the jobs that'll be here in 2050 and beyond, over 60% of those jobs are going to require a college degree or better. And so when you think about those numbers, we've got to do some things to have better alignment there. Also, we look about the earning potential. I saw some information most recently that with students who are electing to not go to college, so going to high school and going directly into the workforce, they are losing collectively by 20 years over $1 billion in earning potential. Think about that from a number standpoint. $1 billion is being left on the table by students saying, I'm not going to further my education. And that goes directly to the loss of potential income. So when we think about the regionals and Miami University, there are three things that we're focused on, and I want to talk real briefly with you this morning. The first is, how do we increase access? How do we provide more opportunities for more students to take advantage of higher education? And so what are the things that we can do to put in place to build those real strong, tangible pathways that will support success for all of our students? Those pathways can be high school pathways. They can be transfer pathways. They can be opportunities for adults who have had some college but no degree to come back and upskill themselves and really get ready to get back in the market and be successful. One of the data points that I've seen most recently that's really exciting and encouraging but also discouraging is that in Ohio, we have 1.2 million adults with some college but no degree. Think about that. That's 1.2 million people in our state alone who started college, got credit, and didn't complete their ultimate goal. And so when we think about those things, those are all directly related to our access mission of increasing access. So I'm going to see if this next thing plays, because this is one of the things I did want to show you all. I hope it plays for me. Oh, of course. Let me try this one. Let's see.
We know about those.
I'll come back to it.
This fall, Miami University Regionals will launch the Early College Academy. Working with the Hamilton and Middletown City School Districts, we are establishing the Early College Academy to provide the opportunity for students to earn a Miami University associate's degree while completing their high school graduation requirements at the same time. Utilizing the statewide College Credit Plus program, students can earn an associate's degree at no cost. Miami University Regionals is committed to increasing opportunities for students to earn a degree, gain a career, and enjoy all the benefits of college education. All of the available data shows that a college degree leads to higher earning, increased economic mobility, and better health outcomes. The Early College Academy will open doors for students right here in our region.
In the fall of 2022, the Early College Academy will bring a group of 50 academically prepared Hamilton and Middletown High School juniors to the Miami Regionals. Students will enroll in full-time courses each of the 4 semesters during their junior and senior year. All associated fees for the academy, such as books and tuition, will be covered by the program. And students in the program will be able to take their courses and still participate in their extracurricular activities at the high school, giving the students the best of both worlds. What a great opportunity.
We have designed this program so that students can get college experience, but also provide them with the necessary support services to ensure their success. There will be in-depth academic advising and physical places for students to meet with faculty, staff, and their peers. The program will also offer flexibility so that students can take in-person classes as well as online. Students will enroll in one of 8 course tracks aligned with a career opportunity. After earning an associate's degree, students can pursue a career or continue towards a bachelor's degree with just 2 additional years of coursework.
The Early College Academy will also give local high school students the chance to explore all of the academic offerings available at Miami University. This program will also serve as a powerful driver in talent retention and workforce development, creating a stronger local to start their chosen career soon. Miami University Regionals, empowering minds and strengthening communities.
All right, oh, I didn't mean to play it again. Sorry about that. Let's jump back. So, as we talk about that, that's an exciting opportunity to say this is something that's going to happen right here within our region. Right now, this fall, we're launching this with 2 school districts, but our plan for next year is to expand this so that all high schools in the region who want to participate in it will have the opportunity. I've talked to Jonathan Cooper over at Mason High School, and they're very excited about this opportunity for their students as well. And so when you go back to those initial points I made about how do we make college more affordable, how do we make it more accessible, we're taking away 2 years of cost for students and parents and families. We're also looking at a way that students can get there sooner, graduate quicker, and really get ready to get into the workforce. And so that's really, really excited about what we're doing as we think about things. Another big initiative that I want to talk to you a little bit about is called the Moonshot for Equity. So in the fall of 2020, the EAB, which is the Educational Advisory Board, the leading think tank in higher education, launched a huge initiative where they said, we want to eliminate equity gaps in higher education. Because we all know that right now, if students are low income, students are first generation, students are underrepresented minority, they graduate and complete at much lower rate than other students. And so this big initiative, they said, instead of looking at it on a campus by campus basis, we're going to look at it on a regional basis. So we want to identify regions of the country that are going to be moonshot regions. These are going to be regions where they come together collectively with multiple institutions saying, we're going to tackle this problem as a group. This was a competitive process. Over 50 different regions of the country competed for it. And I'm excited to say that the Greater Cincinnati region was the second region in the country selected. And so now we'll be working with 4 other institutions to move forward on this Moonshot for Equity gap. This is a national initiative. We're getting a lot of positive press around this. And we've already started to see in only a year's time some big impacts of some of the little minor tweaks we've done to the work we're doing to see important outcomes for all individuals. Another big area that we've been focused on is our Work Plus program. And so this is our program where we're looking at how do we find opportunities for individuals who are working to get their degree. Now, you all know a lot about tuition remission programs where students have to go, they have to front load the money, and if their employer likes what they're doing, they'll pay for it, and if they don't, they won't. Work Plus takes this and turns this on its head. Now students aren't paying anything up front. The employers are covering the entire cost on that. Students are only being asked to work up to 24 hours a week, so it's part-time employment. But they can learn, they can continue to do what they're doing, and they can take their courses, and it's completely free to those students. And so the Work Plus program has been very, very exciting. I'll add another tidbit of this. Governor DeWine has asked us to model this across the state, and it's actually been signed into law. So again, when you think about what we're doing at Miami, and specifically at the regionals, these things are impacting our economic development, not only here in our region, but statewide. And the last thing we want to make sure we're continuing to focus on is how do we promote engagement? We want to make sure that education is a two-way street. For too long, it's been the educators just providing the information, but we've got to be able to partner with industry. We've got to be able to partner with our alumni. We've got to be able to partner with our community to say, what are the needs you all have, and how are we meeting those needs? And so we want to make sure that we're prioritizing engagement as we move forward. So that's all I have, and I think I'm right at 15 minutes. So if there are any questions, I'm definitely open to answer some.
Can you take my daughter? I appreciate you being here today. It's really interesting how the College Credit Plus seems to be embraced now by at least some of the high schools. That is not always the case, since it's not actually free. Somebody is paying for it, and those schools are paying for that. So I'm glad to see that those schools are partnering with you to ensure that their students are prepared for success.
Definitely. That's exciting.
Well, where are your regional campuses? I know one that's over on Cox Road. Where
So
else?
Hamilton, there's one in Hamilton, there's one in Middletown, there's the one in Voice of America Park, and then we also have all of our online campus. So we have about 1,700 students that are completely online, and so we oversee also the online e-campus as well.
Well, I've been to the Middletown campus, and I've passed many times the one over on the Voice of America area. So that's great. So when you're a high school student, how can you get involved in this program? Do you apply for it? Is it available to all high school students, or just sophomores and juniors and
So the way we've,
seniors, or what is it?
the way we've designed this program specifically is that it will start with students who are sophomores taking 1 or 2 college credit plus courses. In their junior year, they would now be full-time, so all of their courses would be CCP courses and they'd be getting college credit plus. So the application process would start in the sophomore year, but it would be fully immersive in the junior and senior year of high school.
And so how does that dovetail with what they're doing in high school itself? Do they get high school credit for what they're doing with you as well? So they double it up, so they're not taking more time in the day?
Simultaneously. So they will be taking courses, in the course of their CCP courses, they'll get high school credit as well as getting college credit for the same courses. So an example would be English 111. English 111 will satisfy their freshman college English requirements, but it'll also satisfy their junior year English requirements in high school. So the way we've designed this from a curriculum standpoint is that the high school curriculum directly aligns with the college curriculum, and taking one course meets requirements for both.
Okay, well, that sounds like a great idea. And is there cost then for doing this program?
So there's no cost to the students or families. The cost for the CCP, as was mentioned previously, is paid for by the school district. And so there's no cost for the courses, there's no cost for the books. Essentially, if students go and they're successful, they can do this and complete this at no cost to the families.
Well, I don't know why they all wouldn't do this.
You know, it's
Schools don't promote it very well.
well, you know, here's the interesting thing, and George mentioned I came from the Kentucky side of the river, and so on the Kentucky side of the river, there's huge push around dual credit. One of the challenges that we see, you know, there's still a perception of dual credit versus AP. And so if I take an AP course and I get a 3 in an AP and you go to Miami, Miami doesn't accept a 3. You've taken the AP course, and while it sounds really good that my child took AP, you're no further along the pathway towards a degree or get any sort of credit for it. And so one of the things they're doing in Ohio, and it is a push, and we're seeing a transition, is now folks are trying to prioritize College Credit Plus. All of the high schools in the region are doing it. They're actually increasing it. The main drivers right now are Sinclair and Cincinnati State, but now Miami and some of the other 4 years are trying to make sure we can do more in that space as well, because we know that there's students who are interested in matriculating, and so we want to build those pathways and pipelines.
And so if they're doing this, they're coming to your local campus.
So one of the exciting things about ours is, no, you don't necessarily have to. I'll give you an example. One of the things we've talked about with Mason City Schools is we've got enough teachers and faculty within Mason schools that we can credential them as our faculty members. So they can actually teach our courses working with our faculty, but they can teach them locally in the high schools. So Andy could be a student who took the college, who was in the early college academy. I've got 6 credentialed high school teachers who can teach the courses. So I'm just taking the courses I would take anyway. I can get credit for them, and so I would never have to leave my high school. So one of the things we're trying to do is we have a residential aspect. They will come to us. We've got an online aspect where folks will be taking online courses, and then we'll have certain high schools where it's located and embedded within the high school.
And so are you doing that right now with Mason?
We're not, so Jonathan Cooper and I met in Mason's on our fall 23. We were starting with the districts closest to us, and then we're expanding it out.
Okay, all right, well, that sounds exciting.
Definitely.
And I am a Miami graduate, so.
I saw that, so.
Yeah, so I tried very hard to get all my kids to go to Miami, and one of them got early acceptance and didn't do it. I don't understand that. They all went to UC and one went to OU, so I don't get it, but.
Well, my son went to the Miami Middletown campus for CCP when
Okay.
he was at Springboro.
Yeah, we have quite a few
And I
Springboro
wish
students.
that Springboro was more supportive of that option for kids at that time, because he could have graduated with an associate's degree, had there been that kind of support around it, educational process around doing it. And so his mom would have liked to have an associate's degree, since he's graduating this year with a degree in theater, and feel like the associate's degree might actually be, I shouldn't say that, he's going to be wickedly successful
Sure.
on Law and Order or something.
Well, my brother graduated from Miami, his wife graduated from Miami, my wife went to Miami, I went to Miami, so we got a lot of Miami support here. There's a lot of kids from Mason that go to Miami
It's a
too.
big Miami, it's actually our #1 feeder school at Miami Mason is.
It's very popular.
Well, good luck. Thank you for
All
being
right, well,
here
thank
today.
you all, and thank you for having me.
Great, thanks so much again. George, thank you.
I need a YouTube channel.
Thanks again. Okay, Matt?
Commissioners. So here today to talk about the building demolition and site revitalization program. So this is the second of the two grants that the board had earlier authorized the Port Authority as the lead entity to submit for. The first was the Brownfield grant, which we submitted at the end of January. This particular program is due at the end of February, so we're coming up on that deadline. Just a little bit more history on this particular program. So this is it's designed for the demolition of blighted, abandoned, or vacant commercial or residential structures. Similar to the Brownfield, in the Brownfield grant, there was $1 million that was guaranteed per each county match-free. On this program, there's $500,000 guaranteed match-free to each county. Brownfield sites are specifically called out as ineligible through this program since there was a separate, program already for them. So working with Suzanne Mason, who's here today, she had gone out to all of the communities in the county. We went to the public directory and sent it to every township, municipality in the county to try to get an inventory of sites that might be available or that they would like to see have demo. We received responses from 7 communities with 21 properties, and so we thought that was a pretty good response. We then went through the eligibility criteria. We had to knock out 4 of those properties, and it ended up eliminating the city of Franklin because all of their sites were brownfield sites, which were specifically called out as ineligible. So it left us with 6 communities of 17 properties remaining as eligible properties. And then, so we've been working with a consultant, the same consultant who helped us with the Brownfield remediation grant, to get some preliminary estimates on what we think the demo numbers will be. Right now, we think that we're going to come in below the $500,000 amount. And so I think the thought from our side was to work with Trevor Hearn here at the county and get all of the necessary information together to include the old jail building, just as an option on that list so that the money could be used there if desired. If not, we do believe that you can transfer that, from one project to another. So where we're at right now is we're working with the communities, those communities that had eligible projects to finalize all of the documentation we need. So there's a sub-access agreement that needs to be put in place, which essentially downshifts all of the responsibility of procuring contractors and making sure that prevailing wage laws and all of the proper construction document, or in this case, demolition documentation is followed. Will be downshifted to the community rather than at the county level through that sub-recipient agreement. And then there's also other items such as an access agreement, basically saying that the community either owns or can get access to the site. They have to provide some more detailed budgeting, which we've given a deadline here for the end of this week, just trying to give as much time as we can to the communities to go out and get some of those estimates. And so what's in front of you today is a resolution that would authorize the Port Authority to officially make the application to the state of Ohio for this money. And then once the grant hopefully would be received, we would apply all in one. And then, like I said, through those sub-recipient agreements, we would work with the communities who had eligible properties to disperse those funds for their projects.
So you're able to fund all where you've sought out, you're able to fund all those, and then the remaining funds would support the jail.
We believe so, yeah. And like I said, the final budget estimates from the communities are due at the end of this week. So, but the preliminary estimates that our contractor has helped us come up with, we think we're going to be under that 500 limit. And so, yes, all the remaining funds would go for the jail.
And do we have an estimate on the jail demolition?
I think Trevor's working on that right now, unless he already has it. I don't know if he's submitted.
I believe his original estimate is between $200,000 and $300,000.
So it won't cover the cost, but this is allowing us to cover all of the community projects first, and then the remainder to go for the jail demolition.
Depending on the quotes that come.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
If we do this, are we locked into actually demoing the jail?
Not necessarily. I think it wouldn't be something where we would have to draw down the funds, but we wanted to include that as a county-owned asset That way we have the option to draw down on the remainder so we don't leave money on the table. But no, it doesn't lock us in that we have to demolish the jail. And
I'm not sure that we've made that decision yet.
No, I mean, and we wouldn't expend the funds, obviously, if we chose not to do it.
Yeah.
But it does provide a revenue stream to do it, should we decide to move that way.
And we have asked the question, and like I said, we think the answer is yes. We're trying to get final verification from the state, but we think that money could be transferable as well. So if the jail was decided not to move on, if there was another county property that could utilize the funds, we would be able to shift it over to that, that property.
Okay. Jen, any other questions?
No?
You want to make a motion?
So moved? You have a resolution, I think,
Yes,
right?
we do. It's in our packet.
We have a resolution to approve and authorize the Warren County Port Authority to apply to the Ohio Department of Development for the Building Demolition and Site Revitalization Grant Program.
So moved.
Yes. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, is there anything else tonight?
The only thing I want to mention is I believe the governor signed a temporary order to allow boards to meet virtually through June 30. I know that we have some potential where the commissioners will be maybe not out of town, but would be able to participate virtually. So if that's something that the board wants to reinstate, I can work with Bruce on having a resolution for next week that would allow you to do that for that temporary period of time. Where right now, and I will have to work with IT because we're doing our meetings a little differently now than we used to do them. So we'd have to figure out how to technically be able to allow the board to participate virtually.
Do you know the status of House Bill 51, which would make it law effective at the date you just mentioned?
Yeah, that's the bill that the governor It was just signed. signed that by we, the yeah. governor. So it was effective With immediately.
The emergency clause.
Yes, and it's, the authority is temporary and will expire on June 30 of this year.
All right. And is that a COVID-related?
I'm not sure. It does mention in the bulletin legislative alert that I received from CCAO, the continued authority during the COVID pandemic.
Okay, very good. Want to ask them to proceed with that then, Shannon?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay.
I think more options are better than less.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
No, sir.
Anything from you, Shannon?
No?
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Thank you.